What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So I will be making schedule predictions for every single Power 5 team in college football this upcoming season. I will also do a subsequent conference standings video once I finish every team in a specific conference, just as a synopsis of all of my schedule predictions. Those will probably come later in the year, towards the start of the college football season. Be on the lookout for those there. We're almost to the start of college football, but we're not quite there. We got a few weeks. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the Duke Blue Devils schedule predictions as we are working through the ACC here. So some quick thoughts on the Duke program heading into 2022, and if we're honest about things, this just isn't a very good football program. They are undoubtedly the least talented team in the conference, and it isn't very close. I mean, they had a good run a couple years ago under David Cutcliffe when he got there. They showed some signs of life, but he kind of fell off after that. He ended up with a negative record. Or with a losing record at Duke, and they've kind of been bottom feeders ever since. They were bottom feeders before that. They're just not a very good football program, and they never really have been. And I just really don't see that changing this upcoming year. They don't have any particular players that make me think that things are going to change in a big way for them. Last year was not at all an inspiring performance either. They ended up 3-9 on the year. I know Mike Elko comes in as the new head coach, and it's nothing against him, really. I just don't see him, especially in year one, turning this program around. I mean, if it were to happen, it's a real uphill battle, and it's going to take a lot more than just one offseason to do that, in my opinion. I think that will take 4 or 5 plus years to really turn Duke around, if you are even able to. It's a very tall task. So normally at this point, I would talk about some games where the opponent doesn't have much of a shot at winning, but for Duke, I don't think there really are any of those this year. If you don't believe me, go back and look at week 1 last year. They lost to Charlotte, so yeah. So we'll go ahead and start off week 1 here. Duke plays Temple week 1, and this is a interesting game because both teams are pretty evenly matched. I think Duke is probably ever so slightly better than Temple. Not by much, though. Temple should be a pretty good matchup for them week 1. Should be a pretty even fight. Duke's at home for this one. I think, like I said, I think Duke's a little bit better. I'm going to give them the slight edge here and give them a win to open against Temple, but a game that they could very well lose. Should be a very close game and not one that I think is a blowout in either direction. And then week 2, they go at Northwestern. Now, they beat Northwestern last year in a pretty close game, but they were at home for that one. I think this year on the road at Northwestern, especially year 1 under the new head coach, I think Northwestern gets a win. Now, a winnable game for Duke probably, but I think Northwestern probably gets a win here. They are usually a much better program than they were last season. I think they're going to be slightly improved this season. I think Northwestern gets a hard-fought win and beats Duke there week 2. Week 3, they play North Carolina A&T, and this is a team that Duke is definitely better than. North Carolina A&T is not even in really the same class as you would expect Duke to be in, but they're closer than you might would think. Not a game that you can really just chalk up as a guaranteed win. It's as close as Duke's going to have to a guaranteed win this year. I think they do get the win there. They are the home team. They are better than North Carolina A&T, but not a game that you can just easily overlook either. And then in week 4, they go at Kansas. And this one's interesting as well because Kansas is sort of the Duke of the Big 12 in a lot of ways. They're the bottom feeder over there, but Kansas has kind of been on the come up a little bit recently, and this one is in Kansas. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know who's the better team here. They're very evenly matched in a lot of ways, in my opinion. I think Kansas is a little more exciting of a team than Duke. And with year 1 under a new head coach there at Duke, I don't know, things could get rough, but I think Duke's going to come in here and get a little bit of an upset, as upsets go between teams like Duke and Kansas. I mean, But I think they come in, I think they get a tough road win. Definitely a losable game. Kansas is probably favored in this one, but I think Duke gets a hard-fought win there to get their 3rd win on the season. And then we really break into ACC play, and this is where things start to go downhill. They open ACC play with Virginia at home, and while Virginia is not an outstanding ACC team by any means, they're much better than Duke. Just across the board, they are a better team than Duke. I know Duke's at home. I don't think they can win here. I mean, maybe if they were to win a couple ACC games, this would be probably the most likely one for them to win. I still don't think they win, and I think Virginia probably wins by 2 scores or more here. And then of the other ACC games, the next most likely one would probably be this one, which is at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's not a great ACC team at this point. I think they're going to be improved, though. They're definitely a better team than Duke. Duke is on the road. Again, maybe they could swing an upset here. It's pretty unlikely, though. I think Georgia Tech gets a win here. They're just a better team. And that's kind of going to be the trend for the rest of the schedule, too, because their next game up is North Carolina, who is just a better team than them. Again, they are at home, but North Carolina is a dramatically more talented team than Duke. I don't think Duke has much hope in that one. Next game up is at Miami, and again, dramatically more talented. They have a superstar coaching staff. Miami has things really rolling in their direction right now. They've got Tyler Van Dyke at quarterback, who looks very good. I think Miami probably steamrolls Duke in this one, if we're just being honest about it. And then they go at Boston College, coming off a bye week. Another game where maybe they could have a shot to get an upset, but I doubt it. I really don't see it happening. Boston College is better than them across the board. They're on the road again, and they're a very physical, consistent team. I don't think they're going to catch Boston College sleeping by any means, and so I think Boston College wins here as well. And now Virginia Tech, another game where maybe Duke has an outside shot of getting an upset in. I doubt it again. They are at home. Virginia Tech isn't a great team by any means, but they are much better than Duke. They're much more talented than Duke. I think Virginia Tech probably gets a pretty easy win here as well, as far as, conference wins go. And then next up, Duke goes at Pitt. And Pitt, they were very, very good last year. I don't think they're going to be that good again. They lost Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison, transferred out. But Pitt is still again, much better team than Duke. I know this is getting monotonous, but it's just it is what it is. It's Duke. They're not very good. That's just kind of what it comes down to. I think Pitt, especially, being at home, I think they get the win there. And then they end the season with Wake Forest, who I think is probably, one of the most underrated teams in the country, one of the top teams in the ACC this year. And, I just don't see them having much hope in that one either. And so, I have Wake Forest winning that one pretty handedly. And so that would make Duke 3-9 on the season, which is the same record as last year. And it isn't very impressive or optimistic, but honestly, I just don't see them doing much better than this next season. They just aren't a very good football team at this point, and they're in year one of a new coach. They've got a new culture. They've got a new staff. There's a lot of moving parts there, and there's not a whole lot of talent there, and they're playing in a pretty tough conference. I just don't see them having a very good year. I mean, they could very well lose to Temple and lose to Kansas as well, maybe even North Carolina A&T, although that one's less likely. And, assuming things go, very, very well for Duke, maybe they get to 4 or 5 wins with upsets against, Virginia or Georgia Tech. But those seem pretty unlikely to me as well. So 3-9 is where I am. I think that's what makes the most sense when all is said and done for Duke. Anyway, though, that'll do it for this one. Let me know down below in the comment section where you agree and or disagree with me on the Duke schedule in 2022. Tell me what record you think they're going to have next year and who, if anybody, which there will be somebody, that they're going to lose to. Also, if you made it this far in the video, be sure to go ahead and leave a like because it does help out the channel tremendously. And subscribe to the channel for more college football content in the future. Like I said, I'm doing a video on every Power 5 team. I'm currently doing the ACC. I've already done the SEC. So, be on the lookout for new stuff. Check out some of the old stuff. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.